Good afternoon, everyone. I am so excited to be bringing you my special guest today, Brian Morrison. I had the opportunity of meeting Brian in our recent summit that we held on January the 21st to the 23rd. And I was so impressed with Brian's story and what Brian is accomplishing in the world. And he graciously agreed to come on this podcast and share with you his wisdom, his experiences, his knowledge, and how he's grown his business and helped others grow theirs. Now, Brian is from the UK, and he launched his own business, his very own business, at the age of 35 after 20 years of alcoholism, suicide attempts, and being given only 6 months to live. Now, that was a few years ago that he was given 6 months to live. So he beat those odds as well as recovered from alcoholism. And he's just an amazing person. So, welcome, Brian. So glad you're here.
It's amazing to be here. You've got me on my very first podcast.
We're so excited about that. I'm sure it'll be the first of many. I'm sure there are lots of folks who will love having you on their podcast. So, Brian, let's take a minute and give folks a little more introduction as to who you are, kind of what got you here, what it is that drives you, what that purpose is for what you're doing, who you serve, and how you serve them.
Okay, within a couple of minutes, I will explain. Then you'll understand who Brian Morrison is. I was uh, I was brought up as a child in various children homes. The the society looked after me. My mother had mental health issues and wasn't up to looking after her son at the time because of illness. So I was brought up in various children's homes, uh, abused as a child. 16 years of age, I was homeless on the streets of London in the UK. Didn't know where my father was, didn't know anything. And I turned to alcohol because it blocked out any issues that I had. So I started drinking while I was in care as a child because of child abuse. Then, as I say, I got to 16, homeless on the streets, drinking alcohol daily. And that continued for 20, yeah, it must have been 20 odd years until 35 years of age. Suicide attempts, and as you mentioned there, when I was 35, I was given 6 months to live because I was so ill. I was down to 6 stone in weight. And something happened one night. I remember they told me I had 6 months to live, and I tried to commit suicide that evening. I wasn't successful. And I then said, okay, I can't even do that right. So I need to change. I need to try and stop this drinking. I couldn't on my own. So, luckily enough, a few months later, on the 30th of June 2005, I got admitted into a detox hospital. Uh, the 30th of June is a very important date for me because that was the last day, 30th of June 2005, when I put the alcohol down. And now I'm 15 years in recovery. And so that's a little bit about my past.
That's it's amazing. And folks, if you want to hear more of this, it's on the summit talk that or interview that he gave. But one of the things that stands out to me from that, Brian, is that God had a purpose for your life, as He does for all of us, right?
Most
We can
definitely.
overcome anything in this life, and your story is proof of that. Absolutely.
I
Wow.
truly believe that you can overcome. This was what I was saying on the summit. It was about the life of Brian, obstacles in business, and I believe that nobody, and I do actually mean now nobody, whatever they're going through, there is always a light at the end of that tunnel. It's just supporting them to get there. I remember when I was 11 years, sorry, 6 years sober, and my mother was killed in a house fire.
Mm.
And I had to go to Scotland in the UK, deal with that without any alcohol. Even though I was 6 years in recovery, it was my anytime before when I had a big major disaster, I always turned to the alcohol to help me get through it.
Right.
When I managed to get through that, arrange the funeral and deal with everything that happened, I then said to myself, if I can get through that without alcohol, I can do anything. Uh, and that's my message.
And what a message. I hope that those who are listening are seeing this, relative in their lives, that there's someone out there who's taking courage from the courage that you demonstrated. So since that time, since you got clean, since you gave up the alcohol, you have made an impact on the world, a positive impact. Would you talk to us about what it is that you're doing, who it is that you are serving, and how you're doing that? What is it that you're doing to make a difference in the world?
Okay. When I come out of treatment, I realized that there there was no support for people that were in recovery. And when I went for support, because I couldn't, I had to live every day without my best friend. My best friend was the alcohol,
Right.
and trying to live in that new, as I call myself, the new Brian. The old Brian has gone, but there was no support anywhere for people. And I was told that the only way I could get support was if I relapsed and I had a drink,
Mm,
which is not good.
wow.
So I was 12 months sober. And on the 30th of June, I keep going back to that date, the 30th of June 2006, the day that I celebrated 12 months at alcohol free in recovery, I remember that I launched two projects. One was to support people that were in recovery from alcohol addiction, that were struggling, that needed support to get through that, because I struggled for that year with nothing. Uh, and I also, on that day, I also launched an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting in my town, which was open to everyone. A lot of AA meetings are closed meetings or open meetings. And
Oh,
I believed that I wanted my own meeting. I named it after the detox center, the hospital that I was in, the Wentworth Group, and that's still running today every Friday. Of course, it's not running at the moment because of lockdown. So I did that exactly, and the professionals within services were all trying to say, no, you can't do that. You're in recovery. We're the professionals, uh, and and that's where I started giving back. And I can honestly say that when I set up my social enterprise, my non-profit organization, right up until even today, there hasn't been one day that's passed that I've not supported somebody in recovery. It could be 2 o'clock in the morning, it could be 2 p.m. in the afternoon. Uh, I've always went out there and supported people. The problem was that it's the same globally. Funding was not available for non-profits,
right,
and we lost funding. And I was like, how can I continue this great work that I'm doing? And I can't let these. So I was struggling because there was no funding. I couldn't find a job, and all of the money I had, I wasn't even feeding myself. It was going on fuel for my car to go and help someone. So I was looking after others before
right,
me.
right,
And very, very quickly, I realized that I had to look after me first, and
right.
then I could help others. And that's what I did. And then I did a lot of online business stuff online, trying to earn money just to have a living, but continue that work. And it was about 7 years ago that I was approached by various people within networking organizations where I used to go along hoping that I would get donations from businesses to help me in continuing the work. But businesses struggle as well. But
Mhm.
everyone said to me 7 years ago, 8 years ago, Brian, you are now addicted to networking and not alcohol anymore. Why don't you set up your own organization doing business networking? And I said, well, I can't do that. And that day I realized, look, Brian, you can. You're the new Brian. And that's where the next stage was.
Very good. You brought up a good point that the take care of yourself first. And it made me think of the airline analogy. When you're flying on the plane and they tell you the oxygen mask drop, put your own on first so you can help the other person.
Yeah,
If you're not there, you can't help them. So, yes, as a business owner, we all have to take care of ourselves first so that we can share with others, so that we can make that difference. Because if we don't take care of ourselves, we'll be out of business and we can't help anyone, right?
exactly.
So, I'm curious about this networking organization that you set up. And first of all, let me say kudos to you for not listening to the professionals who told you it can't be done.
Yeah.
Kudos to you.
Do you know I still get it today in my own town? Uh, there's one or two organizations that just will not respond to emails from me. They believe that I'm, in their words, I'm an ex-client who should be working in a normal job and not trying to save the world.
They don't get it. They don't get it. That's for sure. And
No,
as you and I were visiting before the show, it's there's so many of us who are entrepreneurs that's why we're doing this. We do want to make a difference in the world. One of the greatest satisfactions for me is making a difference in my client's life so that they can go out and make the difference in the world that they're intended to make. And that gets me part of the ripple effect, right?
yeah.
And so I love that we can do that. And folks, you can do that too. Whoever's listening today, I hope that you take heart in this, that you have that dream, that passion, that purpose in your life, that's something that you're supposed to be doing. And if you've been feeling that, you need to act on that. And remember, for Brian and I, we didn't take perfect action when we started our businesses. We took imperfect action. And that imperfect action will take you farther than no action will take you. So it's great if you've got a dream. I hope you do. But if you've been struggling to get started to fulfill that dream, then you can reach out to resources like Brian or myself and others. There are many out there. And we're going to talk about coaches here in a little bit as a part of this. But I want to hear just a little bit more about this networking organization that you set up. I'm curious.
Okay. Well, as I said, I attended a lot of networking events because I thought that all these amazing businesses had lots of money to give me to continue the work. And unfortunately, I realized very quickly it wasn't. So I was at an event one day and I was with my upline in this company. We were driving back to my city and I said, she was going on and on about, Brian, are you going to go ahead and launch this networking? And I said, yeah, but I need a name. And before we got back, a few hours later, we came up with the name, or should I say, this person did. I wanted to be the first. There's no networking organizations out there that were set up to bring businesses and social enterprises, non-profits, and that together. So it was mainly for businesses and social enterprises to work together because
Awesome.
because social enterprises also need coaches, also need accountants, also need networking. So, but you didn't see them at networking events. So it was very simple how she came up with the name Biz Social Networking because it was for businesses and social, Biz Social. So that's where the name comes from, Biz Social Networking. So it was very quickly launched face to face, which seems so long ago now. Uh, and I remember that I didn't charge, it was free. I just wanted to build my connections and get people to know who I was. I did that for a few years, and it was like, how can I make money from this? I just don't know. And because all I was doing was supporting people in recovery from addiction, but never charging. I couldn't charge people for looking after them. I didn't think it was right. So when I set up the business networking, I didn't like to ask people for money. So for years, I was running free events. I was even out of pocket paying for the room to help other businesses to flourish, to get business, while the
Right.
organizer is out of pocket.
Right.
So my mindset was completely different. I had this poor businesses frame in my mind. People can't afford it, and that was just the way my mind was. And then I noticed, so I was running these events for a number of years, and I face to face, and then all of a sudden, only last year, round about June, all of these years,
June.
yep, June again, and a friend of mine who ran networking events in Scotland, where I used to attend, I noticed that her mindset had changed. She was running the business differently. She was raising her prices. And Fiona was she still is an amazing friend and a colleague. And I approached her and I said, look, I like what I'm seeing, but how, who are you working with? You're not, that's not you. And she said to me, oh, I've got a business coach. And I didn't even know what a business coach was. So very quickly, I contacted this lady, and she said to me, I've heard of you, but we've never met. And I told her my story, and she went, oh my goodness, I need to help you, Brian. What you're doing, there is a business out there, but you have to charge people. So it was tough, very tough. And of course, that was all at the beginning of lockdown. So even though I'd been running my events for 5-6 years, maybe charging £5 to attend, no more than that, she told me, right, this is how much you're worth. And I thought, oh my goodness, I couldn't take that. Even a lifetime membership, I couldn't afford that, because money, I just couldn't see taking money.
Right.
So very quickly, my mindset changed after some coaching. I'm still with that coach today. And we have literally completely changed because it's online. But we're now what I say a proper business, proper company. We tripled our numbers in October, November. People are loving being at the events because we're more than just a networking event where you come along, do your 60 seconds or your 1 hour minute, 30 seconds, whatever, and then you all say bye until the following week or the following month. I wanted to build an actual community, like a family, where
Right.
we supported each other. We've done much more outside of the meetings. Inside, we're private community on Facebook. We're now building our own website with a private area for the members. I also go out and I look for unique services to help businesses to get seen online. So it's all to help my members. I've even invested thousands in the last 8 months in products online for my businesses members to grow their business. I believe from different, and we're also, which I love, and this is today is probably your audience is probably the first people to hear this, but we're also trying to be the first networking company, business networking organization to have their own product line. And what I mean by that is physical products.
Right.
And people say, well, no, networking is just networking. There isn't a product. And believe me, there is. And Biz Social are going to be launching that over the next couple of months. One of the products that I'm willing to say is actually a pack of playing cards.
Okay.
And playing cards branded for the company, all about business networking tips, your personal journey, personal development on all of the cards in the pack.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, so that's going to be our first, maybe second product. Got other exciting products we're going to bring out for the members and for people worldwide that do business networking. And
That's incredible.
Yeah, I want to do things differently and be known for that. But I'm going back to the non-profit side, because it was set up for me to continue that good work. Biz Social Networking is now known where 50%, 50, half of all my profit from everything that I do, from every membership that's purchased, goes into a charity pot. And I launch projects for people around the world that are struggling, that are maybe was brought up in care, child abuse, homelessness, alcohol addiction, mental health, everything that I went through.
Right.
I want that money, that pot of money, to support projects or set up projects to help others.
That is incredible, Brian. It truly is. And folks, can you hear his passion? The passion that is driving him and his business and this organization worldwide to make a difference in the lives of others. You said a few things there that I'd like to go back and touch on. One of them was about getting a coach and how that changed your life. And anyone who knows me for very long knows that I'm fond of saying entrepreneurs don't know what they don't know. We don't have a clue about some things that would make us more successful in our business. And if you don't know it, you obviously don't know who to ask or what to ask either. You don't know what you don't know. And a business coach knows those things and can guide you and direct you and help you to implement those things. Another thing that you said was about pricing, and that is so important. We all, as entrepreneurs starting out, tend to undervalue ourselves and our products and services. It's just me. I'm not an authority, and we just kind of curl up inside of ourselves and make ourselves smaller, right? But no, we need to not do that. You have a knowledge set that you are bringing to your clients, or a product that you're bringing to your clients. And we tend to think that people are going to buy from us based on our prices, that's what's going to get them there. And so we want to keep our prices super reasonable, which is, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but I want you to hear the other side of this. If you bring more value than your competition does, people are willing to pay you more for that. And price is only an objection in their mind when they cannot see a difference in value between you and your competition. If you bring the value, they know that it's worth more, and price is not an objection. But if they can't see the value, then they will shop on price. And the last thing you want to be is the low cost provider as a small business person. You will not be able to sustain your business indefinitely by charging the lowest prices to get the client. And you damage your reputation in that process as well, because people look at somebody else who's charging more and they say, this guy must not have the value. I'm going to go over here. And they'll actually go pay more. The people that come in at the lower price, when they compare the prices and you're the lower price, those people are not your best clients. They're the people that are going to be the worst clients because they're looking for the best deal. They're going to be the complainers, the people that take up all your time. You need to establish value around your product and your service, and that should feed your pricing structure, your pricing model. Would you agree with that, Brian?
100%. I remember when I launched, when I did start charging that £5, and then I realized, right, I need to earn some money. I was, and I still laugh today. I was saying to people, give me £100 for lifetime membership. And and it's like still today I've got a few of these people that in that,
Right.
and the guarantee was that they would never pay again.
Yeah.
And even though we've gone online, I thought I can't take from them because I promised them that
You promised
they
them. Yeah.
and it's very odd now because I charge a lot more than that per year. Uh
Right.
and but I just couldn't again. The mindset that the business coach changes. It's weird. It's really odd how they just manage to completely change your mind and you recognize that, hold on, some of the people that did, I remember to this day, some of the people that actually paid that amount, they paid it and they've never, I think they've only attended one face to face event and I've never heard from them since. And I've truly, but I've seen a few of them who are members of big organizations that
Right.
charge thousands.
Right.
And, and I thought, wow, I was just too low. Uh, so, but I'll be honest, as soon as my business coach managed to help me change my mindset, and when I upped my pricing, now my business coach wanted me to up the pricing to that price, but I was still worried. So she's not been able to persuade me to do that.
She hasn't quite gotten you there.
So I've gradually gone up. And
Good.
do you know the more I go up, the better businesses come in.
Exactly.
And it's like, wow, they're not an issue.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, oh my goodness, and like we're due to go and like rise our prices towards the final price on the 1st of February. And like it's like they just seem to, okay, it's that price, what do we get? And yeah, just the value, and they just seem to want to pay.
Yeah. They see that value. A friend of mine is famous for saying that people will pay twice the price for 4 times the value. So just make sure you're delivering the value, right?
Yeah.
Another element that you talked about was profit, and I really want to come back and talk about that just a little bit. We tend to focus on sales as entrepreneurs and marketing people, and everything you hear these days is about the sales. It's about the revenue,
Yeah.
but the revenue doesn't mean that that's dropping into profit for you. You can make $5 million a year and be losing money. You can make 20, 30, $40 million a year and still be losing money, not making a profit. And so, um, one of the things though about the profit is that that's what allows you to contribute back to the community in the way you want to. If you weren't making that profit, then you couldn't contribute to all of those social programs that you're doing, right?
No, if I had stayed at that low price that I was doing when I launched and started charging like that crazy low price, and I got a business coach and I was marketing and I had bills coming in to pay, building the website, the platform, it was like there wouldn't be any profit.
Right.
So I said from day one that at one time I said 25% of the profit would go in, and then I said 50. But do you know, up until October last year, there was never any profit. I had people paying me, but there
Right.
was no profit.
But there was no profit.
No.
Right. And so how we structure our business, the foundation that we create, the marketing that we create, I mean, there are so many elements to it. In fact, I have a program that we cover 6 different areas of your business to get you to that place where you're making a great profit. You're doing a service for your customers, you're making a difference in the world, and you're putting the money back into your pocket through profit, where if you want to contribute in that way, you can, but you can also take better care of your family. You can have more time freedom, more relationship freedom, because as we know, there is an impact. Every business owner, their relationships are impacted based on how well their business is doing, right? If your business is struggling, your relationships are probably struggling because of the stress that you put yourself under with the struggling business. And vice versa. If your relationships are struggling, it puts stress on you that impacts your ability to run your business successfully. And so that profit allows you to have that time and the space to be able to create those better relationships because you're not stressed out all the time. And it allows you to make the difference in the world that you want to make.
You just touched on something there. The word stress. I was stressed right up until I got that business coach. I remember my first week with Paula, my business coach, and I went back to her and I said, Paula, and I'll never forget it. She was calling me and I wasn't answering the phone. I wasn't replying to messages. And I remember my words to her. And I answered the phone this day and she went, are you okay? I can't get hold of you. And I went, it's not working. And she said, what do you mean? I said, I don't know. I feel like I'm paying somebody to help me grow my business, but you're telling me what to do. I'm paying you. My mindset was not correct. And it was, and thank goodness she managed to really talk to me about how it works with coaching but again, the stress went after that call. When I changed my pricing, I started to make profit and actually have money in my pocket, which I'd never had. It was like what we said earlier, 35 years of age, starting to live for the first time. That's what it was like.
Felt amazing, didn't it?
Yeah. And it was like, oh my goodness. And I no longer think, look at all these years, the young old Brian that I lost. It was my path, and I now don't look on the past.
Right.
It's been done, and I believe it was actually done for me to actually go through that so that I could help others.
You would not be who you are today without the experiences that you've had. And you would not be able to impact the people in the major way that you are doing and going to do more of
Yeah,
had you not gone through those experiences. So you've turned them to your good. Yeah. And the
exactly.
Lord definitely, as we said in the very beginning, the Lord has a purpose in your life, for
Yeah.
your life. Yeah. So I have three questions I want to ask you, Brian. We've kind of talked around the edges of them. We've mentioned them a little bit in this conversation, but I want to come back and be very specific because this program is all about helping entrepreneurs to move forward in their business. And so I want them to learn from others who've been in the trenches, who've experienced what they're experiencing, who've gotten through it, made it to the other side, as proof that they can do it as well. So my three questions for you are, first of all, is there a leadership principle that you embrace in your life that has made a difference in your business and your life? Some leadership principle?
Yeah. As I mentioned earlier before we come on here, the wording I wasn't sure of, but that's the thing with UK and US. We
Yes,
see things differently.
yes, we do.
But yeah, I most definitely have. I believe, and you mentioned the word earlier before we come on as well, that everyone out there that's listening to us now, that's listening to us, they need to realize that they have to, now you used the word before, honesty. They have to
Hmm.
be honest about their struggles. I never told anybody that I was struggling to make a business. As I said before, I was out of. So number one, you really do need to have honesty. Tell tell someone that you're struggling, because without that, the same as in my life, before I told someone about my addiction to alcohol, my business was struggling last year. Nothing was happening. So
Right.
right at the top is honesty. Go and tell someone the truth that you can trust. I mean, if you're listening and you're struggling now, go to Regina, come to myself, and get some tips to move forward, because a business coach, a business mentor can help you get over that bridge and see that massive, big, bright light ahead of you.
Awesome. Very good. Yes. And as we talked about in before we hopped on, that is a big one for me. Honesty and integrity in all that we do, in our personal life and our business life. And there should not be any difference in the level of integrity that you bring to either one.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. And we've also talked about that this is a passion for you. What you're doing is you are, if anybody watching this can't see Brian's passion, then, even though you're only hearing his voice, perhaps because it's a podcast, you should still be able to hear that passion in his voice for what he does. So, Brian, would you touch on just a moment how following that? I mean, because you could have done anything when you got sober, right? You could
Yeah.
have gone out and gotten the job that the professionals wanted you to do. You could be doing whatever, whether it was sweeping floors to running a business. I mean, it doesn't matter. But you didn't. You chose the path of following your purpose and your passion in life. How has that impacted the success of your business?
Without it, there wouldn't be a Biz Social. They're both like the summit we spoke about that was running this weekend. They're both aligned right next to each other. The more that I go out there and support these people that I look in the non-profit side to support struggling with, as I said, abuse, addiction, mental health, the more I help them, the more my name gets out there for helping them. And then the more that I share the business and the reason why Biz Social Networking was set up, then that's it. They're clicked together. They're
Yeah.
not separate. They're 100% locked in. And if they ever came separate, but up to now, 100%, they're locked in. It's very important. And the good thing is, as I said, the business is growing.
How many,
Be-
if you had to hazard a guess, how many businesses do you think you've helped along the way, or nonprofits that you've helped along the way? Any idea?
Well,
Or just a ballpark,
I would say about maybe around about 40, 50 non-profits
wow,
and about 200, 250 businesses.
excellent. That's awesome. And with every one of those folks, as you're thinking about your business, with every one of those nonprofits or those businesses, each one of them has an impact on the world. Each one of them impacts a lot of other people. So when you're out there doing what you're supposed to do, what you're following your calling, your purpose, your passion, you not only change your own life, but you change the life of potentially thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people through what you do, which helps other people, which helps other people. You become part of that ripple effect.
Exactly. I now smile since, again, I keep going back to this mindset and business coach. I now smile when I say that price that I would never mention before, because I just think, yes, I've got 50% of that profit.
Yeah,
I'm going to be able to help other
exactly.
people and stop people struggling to be a survivor like me. So that's why, like I said, they're aligned and locked in together, because the more people that buy that membership, the more people that I can help.
Awesome. Yeah, it's so true. And truly that's what drives me in what I do. Um, Another question. We've talked a bit about profit and how many businesses aren't making it. You weren't making it for a long time. Um, what is one strategy that you've put in place now that is generating more profit? What's one thing that you're doing to create that profit?
Okay, there probably needs to be two here,
Okay,
because
we'll take two.
number one, is networking. I truly believe that you have to go out there, even if your business, you're listening to this now and your business is doing well, you still need to build relationships with individuals and other businesses, because when your business goes down a little bit, the time that maybe you're struggling, if you go out then to look for the business, you've not built relationships. You have to build relationships with people through networking and keep in front of their eyes. I always say that, keep in front of these people, because I did it. I thought, oh, this is doing well, I don't need to do any extra networking events. But then people are saying, well, we've not seen you around. So you're not at the top of their mind when people are looking for what you do.
Right.
So it's networking. But the other one is getting on social media, doing Facebook Lives, doing podcasts like this, getting involved in summits. Go out there and give yourself to the world. Now, okay, there may be no money in that, but it's about getting yourself seen. You need to invest in yourself. It's not all about money. I mean, myself and Regina, we didn't start all this because of the money. It's a passion is there, and we want to help others. But you need to go out there and meet many, many people and stay. Even if your business is doing well, don't stop networking. Continue. And then you can grow and grow and grow. And if you do get that slope downwards, maybe like now because of COVID and stuff like that, you've got that foundation with all these people that you've networked with. So business networking's top of the line for me up there also.
Excellent. And there are some wonderful platforms to help you with that right now during this time of COVID, when we're not meeting so much in the public, when we're not out actually being able to shake hands. I miss shaking hands. I'll take the elbow bumps, but I miss being able to shake someone's hand and look them in the eye.
Exactly.
But, yeah.
Sorry. It's like,
no, please.
I get people saying to me, Brian, why do you attend all of these networking events when you run your own? And it's like, because I want people to know about me. I want to share myself to people and help others, not just my members. They get as much as me as they want. But I mean, I'm a member of, believe it or not, I used to be a member of 20 business networking organizations. And this year, throughout January, I've had to come out of half of them because I was out there again doing what I do, helping others, but not charging. So the business was being left at the side. I had my members, I was helping them, but there was no new income coming in because I was busy every minute of the day and night. I was networking around the world online and not trying to grow my own business. So you also need to be careful there about how much you do. You need to get it right.
Right. That's so important. One of the principles that I teach is a 5 steps to profit. That you have to apply that 80-20 rule. That if you spend 20% of your time on these 5 areas that we talk about, it will generate 80% of your revenue.
Yeah.
But you got to spend the time on the important things, and you can't neglect it. So yeah, I get that completely.
Neglect. Now, it just brought something into my head that a lot of businesses also do. And people listening may not realize they're doing this, but I remember I was neglecting the members who paid me money when I was going out there and attending all these networking events.
Right.
One big tip from me, an extra tip, is look after your people first.
Yes.
They will stay with you. It's a lot easier than you going out there and trying to find new people.
Right.
Keep your own people happy and they will never go.
That's right. And if we're charging appropriately for our services, we don't need thousands of clients typically.
Exactly.
We need a few loyal clients who will stay with us because they get such great value from you. They'll stay with you as long as you continue to support them and provide that value. And so, yeah, that's so important. Don't neglect those that are already on board with you. They are your best marketing. It costs nothing to make an additional sale to them. I could go on and on, but I
Yeah.
won't. We'd be in a teaching lesson here instead of an interview. But Brian, is there anything else that you could think of that you would like to share with our audience?
The only thing that I really want to share before we end this is what I say whenever I do a talk is that if there's any business owner, entrepreneur out there that's listening to this podcast who is struggling in life or in business, please realize that there is a light out there. You may not see it. Please just look out. Contact me if you need to, and just get back on your road, on your own path, like I am, because I've been in many, many dark places, as you've heard, and believe me, my mindset again, my frame of mind has just completely changed. When I feel bad, I actually try and smile now because I know I look forward to getting over that and seeing the bright light at the end of it. And it always does happen. Always.
Yeah.
Just don't struggle. You don't need to struggle anymore. You don't need to go to, some people say, I can't go to my partner. I can't go to this person. Well, we'll come to Regina or myself.
Absolutely. And if we
And,
can't
and
help you, we'll direct you to someone.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I believe. I mean, people also know me as Mr. Networking, but they give me another name, Mr. Connector, because it's
Love
about
it.
connecting people with and that's why I say if it's life or business, because like me,
Yeah.
they come together. If I
Exactly.
was to go out there and have one alcoholic drink, my business would collapse.
Yes.
Life and business comes together. So if you're struggling in any of these two areas, I don't mind what it is, completely confidentiality. There's somebody out there that I will know that can help you if
Exactly.
I can't do it myself.
That's so important, and especially during these times of COVID, there's so much more stress on folks, and suicide is it has escalated tremendously because
I'm
people
quite
are.
glad you touched on suicide because we've just launched today a project called the Suicide Prevention Postcards. And what
Awesome.
it is it's postcards that I'm designing with lovely messages on of encouraging people to stay with us, that life is worth living, and we're actually people are now sponsoring postcards, and I'm going out there around the UK at the suicide hotspots because I don't know for anybody that doesn't know, but the reason why suicides isn't mentioned a lot in the media is because when people that are so low are deep down that low, when they hear of someone being successful at suicide,
Hmm.
then they look and they think, I can do that and
I
get
can
out
do
of
that.
this. So that's why
Yeah.
we try and not publicize how big the issue is
Right.
in the media. But yeah, so the plan is with that is that I want to drive around the whole of the UK, putting these postcards up with a text number that they can even text me, the local organizations, just to try and keep people, because where I live on the seafront in a holiday town in the UK. And
Hmm.
2 years ago, I walked past this young lad that was crying, had no idea, just moved, and you don't normally say, and I just said, "Are you okay?" And he didn't say anything. And 3 hours later, unfortunately, I looked out the window and there was a helicopter and the young lad had walked past me and walked into the sea, and he's no longer with us. But the reason why I'm saying something like that is that it happens in all our towns and everywhere. So, like,
Yes,
my
it
first
does.
aim is to put these postcards all the way down the seafront. It's about 10 miles long, and do the same in other towns, because people need to be encouraged that life, there is a bright light at the end of that tunnel again.
That's awesome, Brian. That's an incredible project, and hopefully will save lives.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. It has been my joy to have you as a guest today, Brian. This has
Thank
been a
you so
wonderful
much.
discussion.
As I
Uh,
said before, my first podcast, and I've loved it.
I do know you have an announcement about February the 4th. Would you share that?
Of
Will you
course.
talk?
As I've mentioned a few times, Biz Social Networking has been, it was UK face-to-face events up until lockdown, March 2020. And we've grown, as I said, at the end of last year, October, November. But because my name's been getting out there, people have seen my life story on YouTube, and I've started growing the business by networking internationally, because a lot of the UK people were going to international. But through all of that, I've been approached by people in the US, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, India, and asking me to run these events because they're hearing all the great stuff that Biz Social is doing and what it's doing with the 50% of the profit. So on the 4th of February, we actually go international. We're on the February, we're launching the UK, connecting UK, USA, and Canada businesses together for people to do business. And then after that, we've got the UK, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa. So yeah, we go
That's
international on the
awesome.
4th.
Woohoo! That
Yeah,
is
I'm excited. I'm
fantastic.
excited. The reason why I'm excited, and I've got goose pimples again, is because I think of the profit, because I can help more and more people,
Exactly.
even internationally. If I can set something up, I will.
And not only the profit that you're able to contribute and that 50% that you're able to help lives with, but all of the other businesses that you're impacting and that they can be more successful and they can make a difference in the world as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
And the
that's what I
ripple
love
effect just
doing.
goes on and on.
Yeah, that's what I love doing. Helping others, like I said before the business, it was helping others that struggled with addiction, abuse, whatever, and then businesses. And I just love it. I love everything I do.
I hear you. Me too. So, Brian, I know you and I have talked about you wanted to be able to offer something to our listeners. And I'd love for you to share with them what it is that you have in mind.
Yep, thank you very much. What I'd like to offer your listeners today is actually to come and have a bit of a taster with what Biz Social Networking is. Because as I said a few times, it's about building relationships. I mean, people can come for once for free, but that's not building a relationship. So I'd love to, even 1 month is not, it's not giving you enough time. So I want to offer anyone that's listening to give them 3 months, which is 12 of our events, to really see what we do at a crazy, crazy price of only 99 UK pounds, which is $135 US dollars. With that, you will get everything that our full members get. You'll be in the private community. You will also get mentored by me, something which we're launching soon over the next couple of weeks. So I'll mentor you, I'll look at your business, and you'll also get lots of publicity throughout that 3 months, and being part of our private community in our closed community also. So yeah, for that crazy one-time price for 3 months, $135.
That is an incredible offer, Brian. Thank you so much. Folks, that's amazing. We're going to put that in the show notes for you, so to be sure and take advantage of that. That is awesome. And you've been hearing throughout this podcast the difference it's making in others' lives to be a part of this group. So take him up on this offer. I know you'll be glad you did. Thank you, Brian.
No problem. I just love to help businesses, and that's why I want to let them come and see what we're all about.
Excellent. Awesome. That said, folks, there are going to be some elements of what you have to do as a business owner that are not going to be in your zone of genius and in the things that you really are passionate about. So you need to surround yourself with people who can fill in those gaps that are really good at those things that are not your strength. And that's how you create a solid business that doesn't keep you in the business all the time doing all the work. Brian, again, it's been my pleasure. I have thoroughly enjoyed our time together today, as I enjoyed listening to you on the summit. And we're going to put your contact information here in the show notes. And we'll be also promoting the summit some more. So we'll get some more folks able to hear your story there as well.
Fabulous.
And yeah, it's just been a joy. Thank you
No,
so
I
much.
want to thank you so much. As I said a few times, my very first podcast. I have plans in that area in the future, again, to get people globally onto my podcast that maybe, because one of my big wishes is to help people around the world that have a similar background to me who don't want a JOB, and I want to help them set up in business with my 50% profit. I want to
Awesome.
use some of that to help others set up their own business.
Excellent. That is excellent. Well, I will look forward to hearing about your podcast and hope you'll have me on there someday. I would love that.
Of course, you'll be my first one, seeing that I was the first one here.
That would be awesome. All right. So folks, we really appreciate you joining us today and hope you'll come back. Be sure to hit the subscribe button so that you can subscribe to our show. And if you enjoyed it, please rate us as well. We'd love to get one of those 5-star ratings from you if you enjoyed our podcast today. So that's all we have for today. And I will see you again next week. Bye-bye.
Bye bye, everyone.